ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Trash Told You, an impromptu Trash Told You. I'm your host, Trash. Now, I guess both kind of have been impromptu, but I knew at some point I was going to do a Trash Told You the next few weeks before Extra Life because, one, I just kind of penciled some time because I hadn't really been on many newscasts, and two, break the fourth wall. I think we always like to try and do a bit more casts around Extra Life time, try and get the word out and stuff like that. It's never a bad thing, so... yeah, I did one yesterday, and the only reason I'm doing one now is because, unfortunately for her, luckily she's, asleep and everything like that, but the lady's not feeling the best. Obviously, it's, hopefully nothing serious, but it is nothing serious. She's just feeling some cold and sickness, so I had Monday and Tuesday off and, had those designed, set aside, do some stuff, hang out, but there's no hanging out, and I do have some other things to do, but I thought, you know what, there's been some fun today on Twitter, there's been some fun today with news dropping and weird news dropping where we're going to talk about the Marvel stuff, so I thought, okay, let's get on here, because, let's see, Dylan and Taylor pushed their newscast back to their time, and then I think I was going to try, I really wanted to do a Travis Told You after the Black Adam box office, but I don't know if that was gonna happen, so that's kind of why I'm doing one now, and I wanted to speak about the reviews in the box, those projections anyways, because I wasn't on the predictions episode, but obviously there's some new news and reviews and kind of some things to go towards that, but yeah, that's why, because I was looking at one point, I thought it was gonna be on the Sunday, but I know we have Black, and here's a little preview of things coming up, but we obviously got Black Adam coming up, we got House of Dragon finale coming up, there's a Patreon special we have to record, and then me and I think that bastard Taylor is joining me for the Gotham Knights review, and I laugh, and people think, oh, why you laugh when you say that bastard Taylor? I laugh because he doesn't even know what he's got himself into. We're gonna do official contracts and everything, but this fool, let me tell you, he won a match so bad. And, I was fine to give it to him because I wasn't done beating him down. I gave him that beat down a few weeks ago as like a lesson, and I was going to kind of portray that a little longer and maybe eventually kind of say, hey, this is some bad stuff's happening. Look what happens when you turn your back on your friends and things like that. But obviously the wall fell, all that stuff. But, he let me choose a stipulation. I choose a ladder match. He's never seen a ladder match in his life. He doesn't know what he's getting into. So that is, speaking of, November 5th, our Extra Life charity stream. 24 hours. We're trying to raise $3,500 towards the BC Children's Hospital. We would very much appreciate it if you would donate anything, everything possible. And if you can't, that's completely fine. Just like or share the link on the day of and before then, but the day of especially. And then come join. As always, we say this, breaking the fourth wall. The more people in a live chat, the more people hit that like button. Same thing, if you just stop by for a second, hit the like button because that pushes up in the algorithm and makes it so people that we've never met will, maybe like what we're doing and donate or something like that. So that's why it's going to be tough. I always say, I don't know if we're going to hit this year. We've done the charity stream 6 years now, and there's only 1 year that we didn't hit it, so we'll see. But it's one of those things I always expect it because we always grow. Like we grow in GeekVerse listeners and stuff like that, but it's also growing in numbers and stuff like that. Every time we hit the number, we go up by 500 next year. And last year we did 30,000. It was like 200 and something. So I know it's possible, but it's still people's lives change. So again, if you can't even share, just share it. We're making announcements. Obviously, we have the ladder match. We have the title match between Kirklin, Taylor, and myself. For the last ever sports and world's champion, we got the last ever team titles match. It's going to be the gauntlet send-off. Soon you're going to be getting announced of rematches from the past happening. Lord of the Rings Monopoly, and obviously 24 Hours of Shenanigans, and then the third annual trivia battle is going to be happening as well too. That's lots of fun. Obviously, people are starting to announce for that. I'm very happy that Film Junkie Dave is going to be hosting the DC panel or the DC trivia portion. At least that's lots of fun. You never know. I always feel, luckily, he's a nice guy, and he didn't even. It was through Messenger, so I don't know if Blink, but he messaged back pretty quick. The thing is, like, even last year, and that's why we say always share, because I had no experience with Dave. I had heard about him because obviously, like, with the Snyder Cut movement and stuff like that, but I hadn't had much affiliation or hadn't watched the show. That was much of a dig at him. It's just I've said this before, now with my job, I don't listen to many podcasts, unfortunately. I just sit in an office by other people, and you can't listen to. I do on my lunch break, but my listening's going down. But Same as last year. And I know I'm ranting a little bit, but please, if you're going to give me a negative review or a negative comment, just turn away. I hate like around this year when it's like, hey, yeah, the links are going to be a little longer. You know why? Because we're fucking promoting a charity for BC Children's Hospital, you know? Like last year, especially when we got a letter from parents like, hey, this is what your funds had done. It was like, and I know they were doing that, but when you get that letter from a personal person, like, hey, this is what you specifically did, it's saying like, yeah, we're going to talk about as much as possible. Dave Lasher, same thing. Didn't know him. He retweeted the link, shared it, didn't have to. He shouted us, then he had us on Vodka Stream talk about it after. And yeah, he's a great guy. And that's where it's so funny where you look at his community, my community, completely different. I always like to say, like, I love to go in there and play the heel a little bit because they're very Snyder heavy. But the good thing is, and what I met with a few other people in that community, like they are more the level-headed, can have fun with it, conversations about it, stuff like that. It's not the rah called fuck you, you know. As I got that review, one of my first negative reviews on BVS was what was it? All right, I gave it a 7.5, and I said I liked it. I gave it that, and the quote was, "Well, you didn't like it enough," and, and it's like I had a negative experience with Snyder fans for a while, but Dave's a great guy. I don't know what he's going to be cooking up DC questions wise, but again, he's a busy guy. He's podcasting almost day. He has a much bigger following than us, so it's something he doesn't have to do, you know, but he is doing it. And then I got Tim Rooney, who's officially my draft member. He's been on just a couple of our podcasts before, but he's never been on the trivia battle. So my first draftee, very excited to get him on there. And I think every weekday you're going to get an announcement of people on my team or Taylor's team, so look out for that. And everything you need to know is down below. Biggest thing is the Patreon, because you get episodes like this ad-free early, and you get the exclusive episodes. If you go all the way up to the Phase 15 tier, not that way, the Phase 4 tier, which is the producer tier, you get everything, every exclusive show, because there's some shows on different ones. I guess I should start pushing this out there a bit more too, is this Saturday, we're going to be doing our first ever After 9 movie night. If you're Phase 2 and higher, you can call in. We're going to be watching 2005's Venom. The first half an hour, we're just going to be chatting. Then we're going to do like a commentary / movie watch along. That movie's become a joke in GeekVerse, so that's why we're doing it. I think our plan is maybe to do one every quarter if it goes well, because some people on the survey were saying, hey, we'd like some commentary tracks back. It's tough, as we talked about before, because the people that love commentary tracks just love the commentary tracks. I feel like it just gets brought up, and we don't always know because it's anonymous, but I just feel like I can tell, like, okay, this person keeps bringing it up every year and stuff, so this is kind of a me in the middle, and see, because we always get new people too that maybe they like home tracks now, and we'll see. But either way, I think I don't really care. It's just gonna be fun to do this, so I can't wait for that. And yeah, I think that's everything. You can go there, same thing as Patreon too. You can get a little sneak preview of what our new content plan and schedule is going to be like starting November 13th. That's going to be a lot of fun. Trask told you it's going to be going weekly November 13th. Sometimes 2 times a week, but at least weekly. So yeah, and we really appreciate the support. Anything you do from that, Manscaped, using the podcast code at GVPOD, which gets you 20% off and free worldwide shipping. Everything you do to support the Patreon, the audio feed, the Manscaped, comes back to us, and we create more shows. There's a reason I can do, Travis told you, there's a reason we can do multiple reviews, is because you guys pay for the time for us to do this, but the editing of it, the promoting of it, it's lots of stuff. So sorry, I just wanted to make sure I got my phone on me, as I have a sick lady next door. Just want to make sure she doesn't need anything, but no, we're good. Let's get into this. So, oh boy. Black Adam. We are 2 days away. At least I'm seeing it on the Thursday. We'll be doing a later review if people are planning on watching live. It'll be probably not even for PST people. I think we'll be starting around like 9:30, 10 or something like that. I left it up to those guys to do Thursday and Friday when they chose Thursday. So either way, Friday morning, you're going to get a nice Black Adam review going on there. And speaking of Black Adam reviews, those have dropped today. So I should pull up, but I don't know what the official thing is, but obviously, so I had this, I wasn't on the prediction episode, but I usually write most of the predictions and stuff like that. And I made Taylor and Kirklin answer these questions about the box office and Rotten Tomatoes. Now, Rotten Tomatoes, we still got a long ways to go. It's only 61 reviews, but it is 54%, which is AK rotten. You might go, hey, that's stupid because, it should be 50% a pass. Yeah, it's just their kind of method they use. And even then, I feel like it makes sense enough because there's tons of places, at least in schooling. I think it was even my first day where it's like, you got to get, actually my first day was fucking 75%, but there's so many places now where I think when I was growing up, it was, you didn't want a 50% because that's like a C minus, right? But it's like, I'll take a C minus over failing. That was like that. You got to get this to pass. Now I feel like not even just schooling, just around like if you take tests at work, etc., you have to get 60%. Like 60% is the new gold standard, right? So I understand that. Now this creates a whole thing where my predictions was I thought it was going to be like a 60. My predictions for the box office and the critic reviews are very, very close. I was thinking like a high 60s, a mid 70s. And again, for me, this is all part of the fun of it. This is part of the game and stuff like that. I always bring this up because, as I've said before, I was a bit more on Twitter today because I knew it was going to be a bit more of a minefield and I wanted to see people's kind of reviews or reactions to and stuff like that. And man, as always, if you are an old-time listener, and I got something crazy in my eye, and I don't know if it's crazy, but it's just like, it's just, so hopefully, if the live viewers see me just messing around with my eye, that's what's going on. I don't got pink eye. I think I got an eyelash in there, and oh boy. But, alas. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't like this type of stuff, Travis told you starting November 13th, not for you, but I digress. Thank you for the people that do tune in. We have this Black Adam reviews come out, and I say this every time it happens. I've been saying this since 2016, but I say it especially now because it happens. And I have no problem if they were to question me and whatnot. And when I'm on Vodka Stream, which there you go, spoilers, on Friday, I'm sure some of those people will be on there, and I have no problem bringing it up. It's just I've seen so many mutuals that they do the classic, I don't care about Rotten Tomatoes because of X, Y, and Z. And then a second tweet of, well, this is like this shot against Rotten Tomatoes and this shot against Rotten Tomatoes. And I saw, it's not just one, I saw multiple of my mutuals. And it's fine because that's what people go, right? And that's the same way. The other thing I saw too, which was kind of fun, is just, I guess, because it's a strange thing, but I can't remember who tweeted out, but there's this guy that had a thread, and it was a thread of Black Adam reviews and Thor Love and Thunder reviews, right? And it was always like the negative Black Adam ones and then the Thor Love and Thunder ones, and they were positive. So it's almost saying like, look, they think that's positive, so they're, opinions null and void. It doesn't mean anything. If they think Thor Love and Thunder is good but Black Adam's bad, look at this. It's just it's what we've come down, and that's why for me with Twitter I have been on it less, is because I promote, and the times I'm on it is when I get notifications. Like I said, the last Travis told you, so I always have notifications for like discussing film Kroll and stuff. So that news I get right away, I react to it. And lots of other times too is the Discord, because S-Bubs or someone will share something in there. It's like, oh, this is of note, but most of the time, as I told you before, my method was, hey, right when I get home, I throw the phone aside. It's a little different now because the girls aren't home right away. But even then, I'm trying to do errands. And there's times where even if I'm just like waiting for something, I'll sit back and start to scroll. I'm like, I don't need to scroll. Like if there's anything big, I'm going to get notified, right? And that was always the thing of like, oh, could be news, this and that. There's days like today where on my lunch break, I had nothing to do. Like I had one thing to do, but I didn't have the work laptop. I had my Mac laptop, so I couldn't do it. It's Stuff for Extra Life, which has come along really nice. I'm excited for people to see it. I haven't edited in so long. It's been very fun, but you'll get to see that and hype videos, lots of stuff. Do lots of editing for Gauntlet and Sends Off, so it's been a good time because with Gauntlet I used to edit all the time, and it is a fun kind of puzzle making experience. But either way. So I'm like, okay, I got nothing to do. There's no GUA show to set up their live stream. There's no podcast for us set up, like nothing. Usually that's what my lunch break is at work, is just work. I work for another hour and then I go back to my actual job. Like, so today I didn't. So I sat down, I ate my bars, and I scrolled through Twitter, and that's what it was. It was just a minefield of fucking Rotten Tomatoes and, don't let this, as I've said this before many times, it is, and I care about Rotten Tomatoes like enough. Like I care about it in this sense where it's fun to see where it lands, but it doesn't really matter. I have some of my favorite movies all the time. Something like a Hook, something like a Bedazzled, where it's like, man, they got some really bad ratings. Does that make me like it any less? No. It's just kind of fun to see, compare, see what people are talking about. Like even like I said, my little fun note of, we don't know if he's for sure in it, but look at Henry Cavill. If he's in Black Adam, every theatrical DC movie he's been in has been rotten. And there's nothing to this. I'm not like saying, oh, fucking Henry Cavill, he's a curse. It's just like, what bad luck, like everyone he's in. Now I said theatrical because Snyder Cut is up there and stuff like that. But it's the people that say they don't care about Rotten Tomatoes are the people that talk about it the most. They're the people that have to go, hey, don't let bad reviews decide your opinion. It's just like, I feel like If it's your first time on Twitter, sure. But these are people that have said it and talked about multiple times, and I just still don't understand. And to me, they are the people that keep it relevant and alive. It's the same thing. It's why we've talked about this on vodka stream, because I feel like it's a very divide with some people, because I feel like me and Scott were really on this, talking about where with negative articles, if you share them around, even if you just share the screenshot, you're making that person money. You're getting them publicity. You're getting them the website. So if you care or you hate or don't care about Rotten Tomatoes so much, don't even mention it. I get it if someone tweets at you, and I even get it so much in like podcast form, because you're talking about it and people might want to know your opinion, and that's fine. But to tweet over and again and tweet about it and just stuff like that. So that's why the same thing that they do, I'm going to do the same thing, where today I just quote tweeted one of my things that I said in last year, because I think it was around, I don't know if it was around the time of Eternals or something, but just listing of, this is just going to come up all the time. And that's where, again, it doesn't really matter. Look at even my thumbnail. My thumbnail I've just made to like trigger people. It's like The Rock hurt, like he's knocked out in wrestling, and it's like the Rotten Tomatoes logo that's raw, and then money on fire and everything like that. I have fun with it because I've had this more and more, but there's been a few times where recently it was Thanksgiving here in Canada, and there was just something that happened in the community that I was like, why do people so much care about this? It was something about scoopers and their validity and the lack thereof and drama and stuff like that, which is fine. You can get in that if that's what you want to do. I'm not being that person like, oh, why? It's for me. I look at it and go, I don't know if I have time to just get that mad about scoops. Like it's one thing or another, but it's part of the fandom and fun. And this was another thing, and that's what we're talking about GA. As far as Rotten Tomatoes, I think Rotten Tomatoes does matter, but to a minor degree. For people that say, no, it doesn't matter at all, no, you're completely wrong. Because I guarantee you, and I know people that they're going to see 4 to 6 movies a year, and they're going to pull up their phone, and if they see that big old raw egg with like a 52 for it, let's go see something else. My Sony TV, it doesn't even matter. Netflix, Disney Plus, it has the thumbnail, the show, and the Rotten Tomatoes score. And if you don't think that doesn't deter people from watching some stuff, you're absolutely fucking wrong. Who knows what that percentage is, but it's a big fucking world. The same way Twitter is not real life. It's 6% of like the world and everything. So that's why I've taken a step back, and that's why the drama thing, I just have more fun with it, because it's just movies. They're just so like minuscule. It should be entertainment. It should be fun. But anyway, so that happened. And then over Thanksgiving, we're talking about, like what's my mother-in-law's like, what big movie's coming up next? And there's about, I don't know, like 9-10 people there, stuff like that. I'm like, oh yeah, like Black Adam, that's the big one. Funny enough, she thought I was talking about Black Panther, but I'm like, no, Black Adam with the Rock. So yeah, I've seen that stuff. And I was telling her like, oh, like there's lots of excitement because lots of people are thinking like Henry Cavill's gonna come back. And this always where it shoots my arm in the leg, shoots my argument in the leg, where I say, well, you gotta bring back Cavill because he's a bigger star and people know him. Yet, she didn't know. Everybody except for one person, that's like a group of 8 or 9 people, didn't know who Henry Cavill was. Once we started explaining it, there's something like, oh, he's the good looking guy from Mission Impossible. I'm like, yeah, the arms reload. They didn't even understand that. They didn't even understand the meme. So that's where it's like, and I still think I'm right in that sense of Henry Cavill's star is definitely grown, but it's everything's still limited. What we talk about is kind of pointless. That's what's like the people getting mad or worked up. It's just like, at the end of the day, what they're getting mad at for Rotten Tomatoes, it's a robot website. It's a website that collects reviews that other people put out there and makes a score. And people might do that whole thread of, hey, look at the Black Adam reviews and look at the Thor Love and Thunder reviews. So then clearly you should, if you look at what that thread is and you agree with it, right, where everyone that gave Thor Love and Thunder a negative review, I don't agree with their opinion anymore. Well, lots of them are on Rotten Tomatoes that gave Black Adam a negative review and Thor Love and Thunder a positive one. Then stop caring about it. Stop following it. And of course the score is going to come up on your timeline and stuff. And if someone were to tweet at you, then I understand. But if you're just tweeting out there, putting out there, you care. That's the whole pretending to not like a girl, but you keep talking about her. You care. It bugs you and stuff. It doesn't matter if they're biased. And that bias argument worked for a while until we got to Wonder Woman and Birds of Prey, and I don't care what people say, the bias completely went out the window. And you know what fucking happened? They gave Snyder Cut. Snyder Cut is a positive reviewed movie. That's like one of the DCU's like fresh movies, right? I'd have to look and see what their average is actually, but not that I care. It's more a curiosity thing, right? So that's what it's like. If you feel like all these people's opinions don't matter, then stop making them matter. Stop tweeting at them, block them, mute them, stop tweeting about Rotten Tomatoes, stuff like that. it's just this whole rigmarole if you don't care, which they do, and stuff like that. And for the reviews, I'm not surprised. I'm not going to go over every review because there's a few people I trust, but nowadays I try even not to listen to non-spoilers because I feel like people are not the greatest at non-spoiler reviews anymore. I feel like there was a shift from, I'd say, like 2014 to 2015, then like 2016, 2017. A lot of people would like give their non-spoiler reviews, but, and I try not to do this as well as like when we do them, but they just would, they kind of just hint around too much. You go, okay, I feel like I kind of know the beats of this movie. So I don't really listen to the non-spoiler reviews anymore until I've seen the movie. If there's a spoilers review, great. But the reviews, they don't surprise me. I was hoping for a little bit better. But for me, I've always said, like, I'm expecting a 6 out of 10 movie, and that's fine. People go, oh my God, don't you want better? Yeah, of course, but I have expectations. And the good thing is there's so much movies, TV shows, it's not like, well, Black Adam sucked and my year is ruined, there's certain ones where, yeah, sure, the Batman, if I wouldn't like that, that would have been a little crushing because of how excited I was. But that's not Black Adam for me. I like Black Adam enough in the comics, but the movie, the trailers, they all looked fine. The earlier stuff looked better. And to me, whatever, and this is where it's people can get mad, but it's so funny where I've heard people say these specific things about Black Adam, like, oh, it looks a little messy, I don't know if I'm liking the comedic beats here and stuff like that. And then Rotten Tomato critics will say this, like, who have actually seen the movie, like, yeah, a little messy, the Rock shines, but the hero has like some dynamics that don't really work, there's some bad place comedy, and like, no, I can't trust that person that's seen the movie that had the same thought I did before they had seen the movie. I don't know. For me, the reviews sound like pretty much everything I was expecting. Most are positive about The Rock. Great. That's what Rock usually delivers in most movies, right? People say it's kind of clunky because there's lots of things going on. You got Rock, you got a villain, and you got the JSA, which lots of people have cited. Like, I see that the big thing is like, oh, we like them, but there was too much going on. The origin story, people kind of go, it's a little tropey. Everything that people are saying, it doesn't surprise me. It's like, yeah, that's kind of what I was expecting. I did expect a little more from The Rock probably a couple of years ago because I thought, man, when The Rock does make Black Adam, because he's been waiting this long, he's going to make something special that stands out. I didn't get the sense of that once I saw the trailers. I got the sense of, okay, we're just doing a superhero film with The Rock, and that's fine. I'll take that, and lots of other people will take that. But for the reviews, it's nothing that's not par for the course. And I know people might do that argument, right? Of like, okay, why does Black Adam get negative reviews and Thor Love and Thunder doesn't? Because here's the big thing, and this is where it comes down again to taste, and that's why Twitter, even Rotten Tomatoes, it's reviewed by, like, I think because I was looking at Information Day, like Man of Steel and things like that with their score, and it was like, I think it was like 300,000 people have reviewed it on the audience score, right? 300,000 people. Not million, just 300,000 people. That's a small fucking number. Like, we talk about these things, but that's what I messaged the GUA people when I told them that Henry Cavill story of like, we live in such a fucking bubble because people may go see this, and if Henry Cavill's in this movie, they'll look and go, oh yeah, he was Superman, I liked him, or oh, I didn't like him, and then move on with their lives and forget about it. That's the thing with these numbers where these reviews do help and hurt a little bit, which we'll talk about the box office in a second. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to, is this going to hit well with the audience? But as far as what I was saying with the Thor versus the Black Adam thing, with lots of critics saying, hey, it's kind of tropey and superhero thing, I'm somebody, I've said this before with horror films, that was my favorite genre before superhero things came up. And I think it's kind of tied. It's like a 1A, 1B. Horror movies, for the most part, there's definitely some that stand out, but for the most part, it's like pizza or sex. Even when they're bad, they're good. Why did I watch Halloween Resurrection last night? I don't know, but I did because it's like comfort for food, and it's Halloween, and it's Michael Myers. Sure. Same thing. Most generic superhero movies like a Daredevil, or one of the lesser Batman sequels, I'll still watch and enjoy my time because I grew up with them and loved them as a kid, and I'm happy they exist. I'm happy for every comic book thing that comes out. Even if I don't like it, someone will, and they have that, and I'll get something else down the line. So that's why it's like, I think generally I'll probably at least enjoy Black Adam, but there's a chance I don't. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, we move on to the next one, So that's why for me, if Black Adam, as people say, it's a little tropey, critics, I do think that, I don't think there's superhero fatigue with the general audience, but I think there is with some critics, because I think lots of critics had their, in a couple of years, fatigue's going to set in, the franchise is over, just like the Westerns, like Spielberg said. That could happen. I think it's just a lot like how people so many people jumped the gun, and maybe I did too. I'd have to go back and say, but even if I did, then I'd admit, hey, I was wrong. So many people went, you know what, the pandemic happened, we will never see a $1 billion film ever again. If not for another 20, 15 years. We got it a year later with Spider-Man No Way Home, and then we got it with Top Gun. So it's like, if I said that I was wrong, other people said that I was wrong. We only are making our best educated guesses, but we don't know for sure because we just try to see the wind goes, right? So for me, when people are saying, hey, it's a tropey superhero movie, if the critics are like that are feeling fatigue of these superhero films and want something special, you may not think it's special, and I'm not saying Thor Love and Thunder special, but Thor Love and Thunder has a style. You know what that style is? Taika Waititi, and you can fucking hate that style, but if people love that style, they're gonna like that a lot more than Black Adam because at least it's a little bit different, right? And that's where Black Adam, I think they're trying to make it seem like, well, this is different because we're following the villain. But all the trailers and the views make it sound like, nah, like The Rock's a hero in this. He's an anti-hero that can kill some people, sure, but I guarantee all the people he kills are going to be bad people. So that's where I feel like people feel, you're maybe pitching us one thing, but it's not really that. It's you just doing superhero thing, which I'm fine with. But that's where someone like Thor Love and Thunder, I think people could like more because at least it's a little bit different. And again, if you look at all these people and go, well, I don't agree with any of them, stop following them. They're not the people you want to be following because you're not going to agree with them, and not that you have to agree with like critics and stuff. That's what the point of a critical Brent's gonna fucking. I shouldn't even said Brent's name. He's gonna like clip this out and post it. He did that for when we couldn't say psychology or something like that. He did that when I said, oh, he's probably not listening. So I guarantee I'm gonna wake up to some posts and stuff like that. But go check out Marvel Alliance. I just punched myself in the head. I'll be on there not this week, but next week, very soon and stuff like that. And hopefully, maybe I'll have to do some Team Travis recruiting. Hopefully Terry hasn't got his hooks in them. But anyways, I don't know. I got off track talking about Brent now. So there you go, you bastard. Yeah, the reviews they don't surprise me. Oh, that's what I was just saying. Right, with Thor, it's just like it's a little bit different, so people are gonna cite that way, and maybe that's it. Maybe majority of critics are more MCU skewed. Then again, don't follow those critics. Follow the people you trust, or just follow yourself. It's what we've done before. So the box office. We're going to talk about that after I take a sip of this nice, Daveson Orchard's apple juice, best apple juice in the world. If you've never been, if you come to Kelowna or Vernon, Canada, you have to get it. We'll be right back. Oh, that's good. We bought 6 cases of that. I'm going to have to get another 6 before they close up. But anyway, so those are the reviews. Box office now. So box office, it's been funny to see where it goes, especially just lately. It's kind of been all over just with other movies, right? I'm going to use this example where Halloween Ends. It was projected to be a 50 million plus on the Wednesday, 50 million plus, which is funny because the reviews come out a few hours later. But then by the time we get there, it's just 40 million, like just a little bit over, like 40.9 or 0.8 or something like that. So it's like close to even slipping below 40. Still gonna be profitable, still good enough. Go back yesterday, I talked about like the pros and cons of that box office. But either way, projections have kind of been all over. And so this was, I think it was like 3-4 weeks ago or something, where the first projections came out, and they're all settling in the same range, but it's just like a question of where they go. It was like 50. It was like 50. I can't remember if it was like 50 to 70 or 55 to 70, but there was like a 20 to 30 million range pretty much of, hey, this is what it could be hitting. And okay. And then it was, I think 2 weeks ago, where it was like, hey, it's looking like a 75 plus. And I thought that's really good. That's fantastic. And that's honestly what I was kind of thinking. Now today, I should have brought that article because I think it was projected to have like 135 million opening weekend, like worldwide with everything included, right? But with the box office for us domestically, it was now in like the lower 60s. So you can see it's kind of gone up and down. I don't know what that is, if it's just the holiday season. I don't know if it's just like, I guess it's the holiday season, but I don't know if it's just because the movies are still kind of all over the place as far as just like people may not know when things come out. I don't know why they're kind of all over, but even then it's probably not all over. It's probably just because I'm following a superhero project, and I feel like most of the time like MCU stuff kind of tracks and hits similarly and stuff like that. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm trying to pull up the article here, but 60 million. So I was sitting at like a 77 million, somewhere in there, and here's the exact quote. The movie had, oh, don't fall, phone. The movie had arrived hot on domestic tracking this month with 65 to 70 plus projection. However, that forecast has calmed down, especially with reviews at currently at 53%, which I don't think, like they say that, I don't think that had much to do with it because reviews just came out. I don't think it's like, and as somebody that still uses Rotten Tomatoes and say that other people would use it, like I watched shit movie. I'll watch it that's rated 0. I don't care about that. I watched Stupid Karen last year, right? I'm just saying like I use it in this podcast sense, but I don't think there was enough time between people seeing the reviews like I'm canceling my tickets. I don't think that's the case. Let's see. Therein lies Black Adam's kryptonite. Oh man. Hopefully these numbers don't go any lower. A start at 60 million in the upper echelon. Johnson's non-Fast and Furious domestic opens. The Mummy returns, which is not fair to use, but okay. At 68 million in 2001, and then Jumanji, the next level, in 59 million in 2019. If the film overperforms, it'll be because there hasn't been much out there for fanboys since Bullet Train, which was a weird one. Like, I get it because they go and say, "Oh, like Bullet Train opened at 30 million." It was big. It's like that's not a fanboys movie. Like very strange. They talk about the Halloween Kills box office a little bit. I was trying to find. Let's see. Here we go. So expect the movie, as is standard for Johnson Affair, to excel overseas. We're expecting an offshore start of the 65 to 75. This puts the DC's title opening between 125 and 135. Black Adam begins to strike abroad Wednesday, notably in France and Korea, and by Friday it'll be in 76 international countries. There's no China date yet. That international opening is in the range of such films as 2019's Shazam and last year's Venom Let There Be Carnage. Those titles respectively did 57 and 77 million. Like their openings at today's rate, recall the dollar is extreme high and having about 15% impact on recoups from offshore turnstiles. Just talks about exchange rate. Pierce Bronson, good for them. Expecting it to perform strong on Latin America, sure. And then go on Tickets Paradise. So this is where, and I can't remember where. I'd have to, because I was listening to Film Junkie Live. I think it was yesterday because David mentioned he had seen some forecasts that was like overall 600 to 700 million, right? Which I think would be really good because that's what that article points out. To me, here's the stages. I think 60-ish, that's good. It's a good opening. It's not like bam. I think 75 plus is great. I know it's only 50 million more, but I think that's great. 100 million, that's when you get the outstanding, and that's then after that you get in those, like when you get into those like 175 plus 200, that's like the phenomenal like grand slam. No, but I still think 100 opening would be great. I don't think that's happening here, but you never know, right? Because it could be the reverse as these projections have gone up and down, up and down. It depends what the word of mouth is, and I don't think the reviews are hurting that yet. I think rock movies specifically do go on, hey, do people enjoy it, and tell other people that. And I think this movie will have that. I really do. And I still think there's a chance I'm like that. I could say, hey, go have a fun time in the movies. Go watch rock kick the shit out of bad guys or good guys. I don't know, but either way, I think that it will play well with audiences because rock movies usually do, but this is a good test, right? So I think 75 plus is really, really good. I think 100 million, that's like the great, like good job, really good job. 60s, that's good. That's a really decent, strong opening. Once we get into the lower than 60s, like that 55, 50, that's when I think it's a little bit on the weaker side. If it gets below 50, which I don't think that's happening, if it gets below 50, I would be concerned. But even 50 to 55, that's a little weak for me when it is, Dwayne, DC, and you got other characters, or I guess more actors, Pierce Bronson using Amanda Waller. I do think if there is any Superman-esque cameo or appearance and the box office the first weekend kind of goes a little meh, they will start using that in teasers, and that's fine. They want to make their money, right? But what they talked about here, again, in that article, these movies usually excel overseas with The Rock. He's a global phenomenon. So at the end of the day, if you make your money, look at Aquaman. Most of its money made was in the foreign territories. It's not opening in China, but most movies aren't nowadays, it feels like. And even when they haven't had like the huge success they used to. And that's fine. They have some weird regulations for what you got to do with your movies. So just skip that. So I can't remember I think Taylor and Kirklin were a combo of somewhere between the 60, 70. I'm just going to try and be optimistic because I want this to do well, especially if Cavill's in it. I want this to do well because there's been a mix of, hey, Man of Steel 2 is still being talked about, but some people still feel like, yeah, the box office still is to be there. But I don't know if I necessarily believe that because I don't think if Black Adam underperforms, they should put that on Cavill having a cameo. I don't think that's the case. I think you go for it with Superman no matter what. Cavill is the bigger star, even though no one of my, girlfriends or fiance's wife, mother of my children, love of my life, no one at her Thanksgiving knew who the fuck Henry Cavill was. But there are people that do, and I think it would be time to try and give it another shot, Black Adam or not. So for me, it is, if it hits that 60 to 70, that's like all good, stuff like that. 75 plus could be great. Then it's the weekend 2, and that's where it's going to really play into, as far as, not only that, to me is where the real word of mouth comes in, because if it has a good strong hold, then it's like, okay, people are enjoying this Rock thing. Or if they start leaking that Cavill stuff that's in there, okay, they're getting that out there. Second weekend is key, but first weekend is key too, because if it comes in much higher, let's say it comes in like 85, 90, and people are wrong about that, it's like, man, Rock's killing it. And then if it comes in lower, doesn't have the greatest sign, that's like, okay, why did this do lower for X, Y, and Z and things like that. You'll get another Marvel versus DC to debate. So I'm somewhere. It sucks because now I was a 77% and I felt very strong about that. If it's like a 60s, I don't feel as good about it. So I'm going to pull the Batman from Snyder Cut faith, Alfred. Just got to have faith. Got to have faith, faith, faith. Baby, I'm gonna stick with the 77 because I want to get past 75. I think that's a good number. I want to be higher, that's sure. And watch, I'm gonna fucking hate this movie. Like, I'm gonna watch it, and I'm gonna be those critics who are like, he loved Thor: Love and Thunder. That's why. Oh, it was today too, where Dave was like, I just can't take some of these people seriously that loved Love and Thunder and loved the Black Cat. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to roll on my horse on Friday, and if that's the case, say, like, talk about how much I loved Thor, or I like Thor: Love and Thunder way more than Black Adam, because I love fucking pissing people off, and it's all fun and stuff like that. He says it kind of in a facetious way, but hey, that's where everyone's opinions are, right? And that's where, with this, I still think the superhero genre is healthy enough that people still want just a good time, just beat them up, not a huge state plot thing. But we're gonna find out. We're gonna see. I can't wait to see what happens this week as far as like the Friday, the Thursday screenings. I'm excited to see. Actually, let me pull it up right now. I want to go and see what my theaters are looking right now, because I've seen that before too, where it's all, that's why, again, with Twitter's not real life, right? I've seen my Black Adam theaters completely empty. It's just one person there. And I've had that before where, like, I think like assholes were trying to do that around Captain Marvel time, right? Where it's like, hey, oh shit, I'm still in Lithuanian. I got to use that for a different time, but, or for a different thing. But, it's like the movie made $1 billion, and when I seen Captain Marvel, it was completely sold out. So it's just a case by case basis. You don't, just because you're like, look. But I'm just curious to see what Black Adam is looking like in my theaters and how many fucking people I'm gonna have to deal with. Where is this poster for Black Adam? The movie's like coming out this Thursday, and it doesn't even. Oh my god! But there it is. This is when I go in the coming soon, stuff like that. So Thursday, let's go extreme. That's like RI Max. Let's see what's popping off right there. Not the greatest. Let's see if I can show the camera. So obviously that gray stuff is the seats. So for where I am, not the greatest, but I'm not going to look at that and go like, oh, Black Adam's Doom. What's like the 7 p.m. showing? Like, oh, there's only like 8 people there. So, so not the greatest. Maybe I shouldn't stick by the 77, but I'm going to have faith and stick by it. And, again, superhero genre, but I will, if I dislike the movie, then I would probably want to do a little less. But if someone would say, hey, but it has to do good to help Cavill out, keep making that money. And back to what people word of mouth, the Rotten Tomatoes scores, I do think Rotten Tomatoes matters, but how many times, how many movies, how many franchises, I'd say specifically Transformers, those movies were, I think DC had it bad. Those movies were just thrown so many tomatoes at. People hated them, dragged them through the mud. I was one of those. They had like, what, I think it was like $3 to $4 billion movies in that franchise. If it hits with the audience and people like it and enjoy it, they will come. They will go and see it. So it doesn't matter what these fucking scores are in that day. You just got to at least make it somewhat likable and have some sort of, something for people to latch on. And the good thing is, The Rock is that. How much they can latch on? That's what we'll find out. So speaking of latching on, speaking of the DCU, let's transition into the DCU's newest Marvel recruit. So this is a trickling of stories. So, crap. Let me look at the Discord because I got to see. So it started today where, because lots of people thought it was Cavill. Grace Randolph, who has, always has a history of good scoops, bad opinions. And when you go, oh, you can't have a bad opinion, when they're like racially insensitive opinions, yes, they're bad opinions, or like this stuff about Jessica Chastain. It's fucking weird. But again, I'm one of these people that like, I'm not going to give them credit for being a good person or anything like that. But it's like, okay, they have sources. This is what they're saying. So she had put out earlier today as far as, what was it? Not Henry Cavill. Not Henry Cavill offer is out. We'll see if the deal goes through. What was the whole thing? I hear Marvel has chosen a DCU actor for Wonder Man. Not Henry Cavill. Oh, offer is out. There was no comma there, so it didn't make sense. Offer is out. We'll see if it goes through. And then later on, now you don't know if this is Sean Dark or not, because Screen Geeks, I think they're like the C minus. They've gotten a few things, but they definitely take a few more shots than other people. But all right, it's fine. They had put out, so this is where either they do have something or it's just they took their best educated guess, but exclusive. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II in talks to play Marvel's Wonder Man. So I like Simon Williams. I like enough as a character. I don't have much history with him. Anything I've read has just been him in crossovers and connected to Wanda, not even like a solo or something that really is about his arc. If it's just connected to Wanda, that's the way I feel, or like that's what I've been exposed to, right? So I like it enough. It's rumored to be a Disney Plus series. Going to be an actor. You got Ben Kingsley come back. And apparently Evan Peters. Who knows what's going to happen there? But all of this was sounding good, but I was not like overly hyped for us. Like, okay, cool, an MCU project. I love the MCU, so we'll see what it's like when it gets here. Once you cast Yahya, who I think I got to do this on a Travis told you, I'll probably do this Oscar season when there's less topics and stuff, but I think one time, it's somewhere in my notepad, I ranked like the men and females first, because I always say like, oh, their number, like I always say, and I stand by this now. Florence Pugh, I think right now is the best actress in the world, and I think Adam Driver is the best actor in the world. And then there's a mix of number 2 for me is like Mahershala Ali, and then number 2 is like Viola Davis, and actually Lupita Nyong'o I kind of have there as well. And they'll like flip and stuff, but Florence and Drive just been such role. But Yahya I have in that top 10. I don't know where. I can't remember if I did list him or put him in there, but I know I have him there because damn, is he just good. And this right away, it's much like the Moon Knight thing where Oscar Isaac was my pick, right? So it's for a different reason. I love Moon Knight. But even if I didn't, it's like you're getting a key talent like Oscar Isaac to be in this for other people that raise their stock in that project. So you get Yahya, who is a phenomenal actor. His like status and like markability is just going up, up, up. This guy from what was that court movie? The jury of the whatever 7 or whatever it was. I can't remember. It was the Aaron Sorkin movie, but he was really good in that. And then you go to Candyman, and then you go to Aquaman, and then you go to Watchmen. And I feel like there's another one sticking with me that I'm not recalling, but this guy just has range for days. And I think Simon Williams could use it, especially being the actor route. And it's so funny where, because in the comics I like it enough, but there's definitely some couples where it's like, they should be together, and that's it. So anytime you got Vision and Wanda, and Vision's like brain patterns in the comics at times have been patterned after Simon Williams' brain pattern. So it's like they have similar personalities. That's why Wanda likes both of them, etc. Right? But I'm always like Team Wanda and Vision. Team Wanda and Vision. I like Wanda and Vision here. I like Paul Bettany. But there's no way I'm not switching sides if I can have Elizabeth Olsen and Yahya as like a couple, like that chemistry. Like the seed of chemistry that Cox and Tatiana have had. What the hell would Yahya and Elizabeth Olsen have? Woo! That would be good. Like, and again, all respect to Paul Bettany and Vision, but you're gonna put Yahya on screen and you're gonna tell me you're not gonna pick Yahya? I'm gonna pick Yahya. Even if we're in the room, my wife might pick Yahya and go, I understand it's Yahya. Look at him. He's just chiseled and he's a like, so I'm having some fun with it, but really that gets me more, not so much just the looks, but the acting chops that both of them have. I'd be very interested to see. And I don't think we're actually going to get that, but I'd be very interested to see them going that route and seeing Yahya and Elizabeth Olsen. And then on the front of, hey, he's doing the crossing universes thing. He's like, I think this is exactly what we pitch with Cavill, that whether it's him doing it, his agents, or it just happened by chance, but, and shout out to Kirklin, because I hate it. he did. I think he did pick Yaya in the superhero draft, and he just said, "Ah, I feel like he's good, and like he's big enough, stuff like that, and he'll want to spread out and do other things." I wasn't on that bandwagon. I thought, well, he's about to be the main villain of Aquaman 2. I don't see him jump in the MCU. I really don't. But it looks like that might be happening. It's still, I'd say, definitely C tier for now. But the fact that multiple scoopers are out now, again, both these scoopers and other people kind of wrong information. But for me, it is like what we talked about with Cavill, where there's been rumors of him playing Doom or something like that. Now, I've always wanted Wolverine, so that my example doesn't work. But when people pitch him as a villain, I do think that is a good idea if he's playing Superman. If he's not, then I say, hey, Wolverine, a hero all day. But if he's back as Superman, and let's say he was to be in the MCU, then I'd say, you know what? It's smart for you to play the villain route. Don't do the two heroes thing. Do a villain here, do a hero there. So this is what Yaya is doing, but he's doing the exact opposite. Oh man, look at this person in my chat. My private photo here. Pass 36.fun. It's not even like a sexy name. Like it's not even like a, boob 69, chicks and dick 69, dick and eye 69. Like there's not even a 69 here. And I don't even know, I guess because I was talking about Wanda and Yaya and like how good Yaya look. That's what the bot's getting here. And it says my private photo. There's like a rose emoji. There's no link. There's a heart emoji. There's a black heart. There's no links here. So sorry, pass fun. I'm gonna have to block you there. But I digress. There you go. There's some fun for you. Oh no! Oh no! There we go. So what? So what happens on StreamYards, if you've never watched the live shows, is when the comments come in, we can highlight them for the live people showing you right now. This is a StreamYard. This is StreamYard. Live viewer comments show up on StreamYard. This is an example. Click on a comment to show it on screen. So we do this, right? Especially with super chats because people support the channel. So I did show the sex bot. It's chat, and then I blocked it, but it was stuck on the screen. So when I blocked it, it was gone from the chat. I couldn't take it down. Luckily, there was an option to switch it. I'm like, am I just gonna be stuck with see my private photo here for the rest of the topics? But anyway, if this happens, this is smart all around for everybody. Yeah, he's in both worlds. Great, you can do that more. Playing different roles. He's, like I said, doing the reverse of Cavill, like hero to villain. He's gonna be villain to hero. Great casting. Yaya, to me, he's a guy they can't cast as anything. They could be like, he's playing the Juggernaut. I'd be like, man, he's gonna be the best fucking Juggernaut in the world. So I like Simon Williams enough, but it's just like the second you get Yaya, that boosts it up so much and puts on a different playing field. I'm surprised he'd be doing it because he's had an interesting career because he was in Matrix. He was great there. I don't know what his career is other than maybe he's just starting to build a profile. But what it felt like he did Matrix, but that's different because like you're doing a new Matrix, I'm gonna be in it. It felt like he was doing these like Baywatch, like these more mainstream things, but then he was starting to transition into more. I was gonna say Academy stuff, but I guess not, because with Candyman and even Watchmen, so whatever his career is, I fucking dig it, and I'm liking it and stuff like that. But I didn't think an MCU role that route was in that career. Whatever it was so far, what it's forming, but it doesn't matter. I'd be happy for it. More actors, the better. And you look at this week, what we've gotten, right, is what was the other one? So let's say this is all true. You got Yaya as Wonder Man, so that's great. You got Harrison Ford seemingly confirmed as Thunderbolt Ross, which what was I have to, because they might talk about it next week, but I was sent this by my former Marvel Alliance host Chris Balga from, let's see, Cosmic Circus. They're kind of C tier. They're trying to climb that C plus tier. I can't put them there yet, but mine are just like plot details, what they're doing with Ford as Ross, but it's nothing crazy. Don't worry. So now, as far as legendary Harrison Ford stepping into General Ross, here's a little tidbit I heard recently. Apparently, Ross will no longer be a Secretary of State and will be a private citizen. No doubt he'll still have his military and other powerful connections and plan of his own new world order in the works. It'll be interesting to see what, if any, relationship he has with Tim Blake Nelson's the leader, if they're working together or on opposite sides. So that's just conjecture. But anyways, you got him as Thunderbolt Ross, which I'm just surprised is happening. I talked about it a few weeks ago. I think they're going to talk about news. I'm just surprised in general from Ford, from recasting, from that is the choice that they're going with. I'm fine because I like Harrison Ford. I'm just very perplexed the whole way around that this has happened. When I heard, I'm like, nah, that's not going to happen. But it has. So I guess Harrison Ford's going to be the MCU. I'm not prepared to see a Red Hulk looking like Ford, but I guess that's what we're going to be getting. So we'll see. And then Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephisto. So we've had a big week of Marvel cast, and those are big starts. We're going to feel Yaya, Cohen, and Ford. That's some talent you're adding right there, so we'll see. We'll see how long this takes to get confirmed or whatnot. They don't have another big Comic-Con or anything coming up, so I don't know when that would be, but we'll just have to wait and see. So let's take our second ad break, and then we'll be right back with some more actual comic news. We'll be right back. And we're back. Oh, I apologize. I came back too early. I got to take a drink of my apple juice. I got to get used to this here still because I almost reached and spilled it. The water over there, not too bad because it's a lid, but the apple juice, no lid. My goodness. And the lights are yellow now. I was keeping them orange for Halloween, but if people don't know my lights, there's a second set. And this set, the orange is burnt out. The other set, the orange was working, but it's only half a set. Either way, I lost the orange. And I could keep red for Halloween, but it just doesn't feel the same. It feels like a cheat. But I do got more lights coming and stuff like that. So I'll figure it out. And I still got to figure out the background. Like I'm going to get new posters and stuff. So it's going to be looking good. But you know what's not looking good for me? Is Wonder Woman 3. Now, I will say that some of this news came out, and I can't remember if yesterday it came out that okay, the script's been written for Wonder Woman 3. It's still in production stuff or pre-production. We're figuring out and stuff like that, or they're figuring it out, right? So I don't know if this was buried in it. I don't think so that I lost it. I think it's more that this happened and some other scoopers have talked about. But let me find the exact one that was going around. So because they said according to Hollywood Reporter, I don't think I saw this at all. As far as according to Bud, I've been in contact with Top Gun director. So it's strange that I feel that there's mixed information. So that's why I say this is definitely a C tier rumor. But either way, this was the quote. Wonder Woman 3 will be set in the Underworld, where she will face the truth of the Greek gods and potentially having corrupted Steve Trevor as the main antagonist. And maybe that's where my story is just to debunk this one, because I swear this would have been around a lot more. Let me search, and I should have done this earlier, but Steve Trevor. But either what I was going to say is very mixed in that description. Let's just say these rumors are true, right? As far as okay, we are going to do the underworld, and then Steve Trevor's a villain or some sort of variation of that, right? Yeah, let's see. Lots of people run with it, but that doesn't mean it's right. Because we've seen that before, right? But let's just play with it's a C tier. Her going on the world, great, sure. Lots of potential there, lots of fun things you can do. I'm all for it. That works for me. It's the Steve Trevor of it all. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't know. That to me, if Steve Trevor was in this movie, and I actually don't believe this report, and I don't believe it happened, but if he was in this movie, and that was like announced beforehand, I would lose a lot of excitement for this movie. I thought already bringing him back in 2 was over enough. I didn't think it was needed, especially now once I've seen 2. Not that I hate it like everyone else. Once I saw 2, it's like, the story wasn't that good for me to justify you bring him back. I thought it would end on a great note there. And I know this is a different note where Wonder Woman 84 was saying goodbye to him, and this would be some sort of almost like variant Elseworlds what if version, right, of a Steve Trevor where he's in hell or Underworld and he's this Hades like terrible character, whatever that may be. It is different, and it'll be telling a different message, because I know people go, oh, well, what about letting him go? Wouldn't you not be able to let him go if he's there? This is clearly an evil skew, so I don't think they'd have to revisit that plot. I just think that that's an old shoe. I think people are done with it. I don't think if that was your hook, that would get people excited. I just tweeted, let my man rest. And that's what we should do with Steve Trevor. I'm down for a dream sequence, a flashback, whatever. Sure, if there's something for Chris Pine to do, great. Let's do that. I'm down. I love Chris Pine. But as the villain, and again, if this was some sort of rumor report where there's like one scene where he pops up as like a villain and they fight, or she breaks out of it and then they move forward, that's fine too. But if it was like Steve Trevor, Underworld Steve Trevor is the main villain, man, what a bummer. What a bummer that would be. Like, we're doing this again, and you do like, I feel like some sort of similar beat. So don't really want that. So we'll see what happens. And I just don't. I also want to return to the conversation because I know there's some people that were in my GA chat. They talk about. I'm not gonna say any names they can go there, but you know who you are. And it's not even that it's a joke that's wrong because it will come up. But the whole like we get back to like Wonder Woman sexually assaulting this guy with Steve Trevor's body. Now again, it's this weird area of it. Technically, she did yes because of that body, but I feel like the movie's not trying to portray it that way. It's magic. I don't think she's trying to sexually assault him, like if that mind came over her mind. But then there's times where I think Patty Jenkins, or there was some writer said like she sees the guy, but because she's actually tricked enough, she sees Steve Trevor. It was a messy situation. I don't want to get back into it, but I don't want the back in my life. I don't want that reoccurring conversation of okay, let's just admit it was just poorly written all the way around. I don't think they meant him to be sexually assaulted or her to sexually assault the guy, but in the movie they just misstepped and wrote it that way and stuff like that, right? Even the things they say, it's like I don't think they meant it that way. So yeah, I don't. No Steve Trevor for me. That's a no-go on in any route as far as like a main role. Let's be done with that. Let's hope this movie actually happens because I want Patty to get another shot. I know some people like turned on her and they Wonder Woman 2, like that's it. But it's like no, like she's still a great director and maybe that wasn't a great outing, but I still think let's give it another shot here, But we'll see. We'll see if that even happens because Patty Jenkins, you never know. We're supposed to get Cleopatra, didn't get that. We're supposed to get Rogue Squadron, didn't get that. Obviously, Wonder Woman 3 is different, but still. I don't know. Creed 3. We're going to talk about two trailers. I guess that's kind of like, this is kind of quick hits and stuff like that. I guess I should have said that. Creed 3. Damn, what a great trailer. There's not much for me to say as far as like, other than just praising it from start to finish. It's Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut. That's looking great. Can't wait to see if he sticks to landing once we get the actual film. This plot line I absolutely love because I think it was a few days ago where it came out. Okay, what's his name? Jonathan Majors, who's just fucking jacked to the gills. My God, I know all the memes are, oh, Ant-Man's dead. Obviously, he got bigger for this movie, but he just looks like an Adonis. He looks like a professional wrestler. He looks great. And I was excited. Like I'm always excited for Creed. I've said this before that I like the Rocky franchise enough, prefer the Creed ones, and I'll be there day one to watch this because I wasn't for Creed 1. And then for Creed 2 though, those fighting scenes were great in the theater. So I will be there for that. I love the franchise. And it's not that like I wasn't never not going to see Creed 3. I just wasn't excited for it. I was like, okay, I'll get it when it comes, it comes. I'm not like, if they were to say, hey, we're never making another Creed, like, okay, I'm happy with what we've gotten. Oh, Sam in the chat, you got that time difference going on. Enjoying all the content you've been pumping out lately, Travis. Well, thank you very much. This is just by happenstance of my plans got canceled, like obviously November 13th, it'll go weekly, maybe sometimes 2 times a week. But this was just like, hey, there's some stuff I want to talk about. I'm not going to be on news in the next little bit. That's just because the schedule. And if people don't know, we've talked about a little bit that Tuesdays is another newscast. Usually it's Tuesday and Thursday, but Thursday we've had a lot of movies, so that's why there's no newscast there. But Tuesday's going to be designated for an earlier cast, like a 4 p.m. PST or 6 p.m. PST, because that can be Dylan, Kirklin, or Taylor, and sometimes Jessica, because they have luckily afforded me the ability when I do the reviews and newscasts to do it later because I have the kids and I don't want to, like, I can help put them to bed. One, just a natural, like, I can help put them to bed and get them off to bed and help out my lady. But also just like, I don't want to miss time as much as I love talking about this stuff. 4:30 p.m. here, perfect time. There you go. That's that's what we need to achieve. And maybe that's what Travis told you all. It's like, so many of our listeners are Eastern, so whenever we do Eastern stuff, like the live, and luckily our podcast doesn't matter because people just hit the download button, right? But for our live audience, like they always do a bit better there, unless it's a big thing, or it's like late night, 8 p.m. Of course, the time when we go live. Lots of times it's like an awkward time, but for me, it's the same thing. I love doing this, but I will not choose speaking about Black Adam box office over hanging out with my daughters. That's never as good, but that's why in the future, hopefully once I transition to part-time, which, hopefully will, with your guys' support and stuff like that and some hard work, we got to do that test run, I told town hall. Hopefully the next few years we'll be able to do that. Then that lightens the load a bit. But for now, Tuesdays, it's kind of like, okay, let's dedicate a day that you guys can always go early. So you guys can do a newscast or something, and it's early in the day, and that's your cast. You don't always have to be like later. And even 8 p.m. is not that late, but still, it's like every time's 8 p.m. And I understand that, right? So that's why most of those, and there's going to be a whole different layout for the weeks. That's why you can go to Patreon and you get that preview right now. You can know you know what the layout is for next year. Anyways, Creed 3. had a general basic excitement, but this trailer got me really excited. And I had that with the second one too, where like, oh, I'm excited for Creed 2, and that trailer that like that Kendrick Lamar song, the remix, and they even used the boxes and like dun 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 dun. They used it in here, but it wasn't Kendrick Lamar. But I was like, oh, I can't wait for this Creed movie. I couldn't believe it. And I really liked the movie. I don't think it like got at my huge expectations, but I really liked the movie. Same thing with this trailer. Like, man, this looks great. This idea that, okay, Jonathan Majors, if you've not seen the trailer, I won't give anything big spoilers away, but they set up that Creed has just been living the best life the past 7 years, breaking records, magazine covers, just the dream, right? He goes outside from his gym. There's this guy. They kind of make like a homeless looking guy leaning on his car. He's kind of getting mad. I'm like, hey, don't lean on my car. And he's like, oh, you don't remember me? And the whole setup for this trailer is that Jonathan Majors, which we learned a couple days ago, is playing, I think it's Darian. He's playing, I'll just call him a childhood friend right now from the past, that something happened. He got arrested and went away for all these years, and now he's back out, and he said, I've been keeping myself in training and shape, everything for boxing. This is my dream. I want to do it. But then the trailer quickly transitions into, not that, Majors wants to live his dream. He's mad that Creed got his dream, and he's like, Creed got Major's dream, and he's getting to live that. He said to watch someone else live out that dream. And they're very much hinting that they were definitely, like, not hinting, they're showing them doing crime. But I think what's going to happen is that they both should have went away, and Majors took the fall for both of them, because the whole trailer, they're like, why you keep helping this guy out? He's a criminal. He's kind of a recluse and stuff like that. And that's the great thing about Majors. There's scenes in this trailer where he's playing it like the hiding, like, don't fuck with me. Like, you can't reason with him. But then it's very mellow and calm and humble and caring. And Majors, same thing. I've seen him in a few things, and everything he's been in has been great. He's a guy that I probably might have to put in the top 10 of the best world right now, because, man, same thing. It's just every time we see him, I can't wait for his Kang. I already loved his Kang and Loki. I know some people are like, oh, I didn't really understand. No, it was so good. That's one of I love revisiting that episode. So this all around got me so excited. It looks good visually. I love the storyline of helping this guy, raising him up. And that's why he might feel like, oh, he has to help him because he took the fall for him. It just looks like tons of family friend drama. No Rocky. Maybe we'll get, actually, I feel like Stallone said he was done, right? And he did that whole like, fuck the producers for not giving me more money and stuff like that. So I'm pumped. This trailer got me. Now, I'm surprised they dropped it, because it's not coming out till March. So what do we got? I guess we won't count October, but November, December, January, February, March. 5 months away for a Creed trailer. I love Creed, and I think it's going to do well. I do not think they need a trailer right now. Very early. I was surprised that we got this. And originally was supposed to come out this year. I think November, but even at one point, I think it was January or February. It's been pushed a couple times, but I don't think we need it that far. But again, why we did need it is to get, the longest reigning GeekVerse.ca champion, Travis Snell, myself, excited. And it did do that. So now talking about my last quick hit, and then I'll get into some wrestling stuff for trailers that got me excited or didn't. Spirited. So I think it has some sort of release date as far as like November 3rd, theaters, November 11th, Apple Plus. It's starring Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. And obviously that people might go, that's a great combo. Exactly, right? And they are doing a oh God, why can't I remember what the Christmas story is? Oh no, the bots are back. Hot Girl's here. Past fun. There's finger pointing emojis, lots of stuff. I don't know where that came back. Again, maybe I'm talking about Major's body and stuff like that. But A Christmas Carol. Thank you. A Christmas Carol. I love. It's a tropey thing. We never got to do it. It was anyway because COVID. We were planning doing a GeekVerse one, and I still want to, but unfortunately, a lot of people have moved, like Kyle, Connor. Jessica's very busy. Briggs moves. So many people with that. We kind of needed like the whole history of GeekVerse people. And one year I want to do it, a very variation. I even wrote the script, and man, it fit better too at the time with like what was happening in Gauntlet and stuff. But one day I'll make that because I love Christmas Carol and I love all renditions. Emily hates that every Christmas I just watch like a bunch of them, except for Scrooged. Fuck Scrooge and fuck Bill Murray. And I'm glad everyone is like figuring out that, yeah, Bill Murray's an asshole all the time because hashtag Travis told you. He's been telling you that since the podcast started. Fuck Bill Murray. So I'm instantly in to see this. So I'm in for that. I like Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. My only thing, and some people are going to completely disagree with me, and that's okay. There is something about when we get these pairing of actors. I feel like, man, I want to see so and so do this. I want to see these people work together, collab together. I love these people separately. I don't know if I'm gonna like them together. There was just something about it where it just was not necessarily working, and it feels like it should, right? Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds, but no, it felt like eventually I might get annoyed with the pairing, and I don't know why. It was just maybe their types of comedy are just not stacked against each other. But now Will Ferrell is playing like the Christmas spirit of past or present, so like he's playing more a ghost. So I'm not saying he's gonna be serious, but I think there's some things to play there. So I'm watching this no matter what. Like I said, this is my genre for Christmas movie. I love that story, and the trailer had like some fun moments. I didn't laugh at any. I think the only one I kind of liked is when he's like, "You want to see what's through the store?" and he like walks away honestly, and where I was like, "You can't make me walk that just because you do that." And then he does go. But even then, like, I didn't really chuckle at anything. I went, "Okay, that's all right." But I will watch it. It's a good pairing of people I like, even though so far I don't know if I'm loving what I've seen. I don't know if it's going to be a pairing that I'm going to end up loving overall, but um, we'll get there, and I'll watch it on Apple. I will not see this in theaters. I doubt we'd even get it in theaters here, but yeah, I would not. I don't need to see this in theaters. It's the same thing. Like I think it comes on digital too, where I don't think I ever talked about this. I want to, and Travis told you like with Bros, right? And there's like I think he did some of it jokingly, but then obviously some of it was like he's saying that straight people didn't come out and see it and they didn't support it because people are homophobic. Get to For me, I'm excited to rent Bros here because it's on digital eventually at some point. It's just that most of those movies don't do well anymore unless you have mega stars, and Bros did not. And I feel like even this is a movie that's why it's perfect Apple Plus because has Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell, but I don't know what it would make theatrical. If it was just theatrical and no streaming service right off the bat, I don't know. It just like comedies are kind of dying for the most part, so you got to make some low budget stuff, you know. And not dying, they will always stick around, but I feel like they're not the juggernauts they used to be, like in The Hangover, Super Bad Days, and even then, the juggernauts are a very small term. So we'll see. You know, get out there with some theater, but I definitely November 3rd, 11th. Still think that's pretty early. It's a Christmas movie, and I think they do that to get them out there so people just will be watching them. So fair enough. I just like, oh, that's weird because even the Santa Claus show that's starting November too. It's like what this all this shit's happening before Christmas. But I guess the idea is people are busy, miss it. You know, they don't have a podcast for having to talk about this. So yeah, that's all the quick hits. That's all the movie, TV news, and stuff like that. That's fit to print right now. So if you're not in wrestling, now's your time to bow out and everything like that. You're gonna be talking some AEW, and yeah, I'll be right back. And I'm back. So, AEW, that's happened tonight. I guess I should mention one thing as well too, because I didn't do any Trash Told You. So, or Trash Told You. Goddamn, Clay, you messed me up from that. With that thing, because yeah, like and like talk about the town hall. I'm hoping to do the wrestling show. I got one co-host that because I always said before where I wanted to have two because if I can't make it, that it can't run. And it's a combo of one is not likely anymore, and then it's just a situation. So I don't know what's gonna happen with it. A wrestling show is definitely gonna happen at some point, but it might just still be with my cutouts. It still might be to the other hosts that could do it, is maybe if there's time to have them on, but the EST PSC thing and with the new schedule, and we are hopefully filming some stuff. So with the wrestling show happening, it will at some point. I just don't know when exactly. I was hoping for January Royal Rumble time. I'll know more a bit later, but I will announce that to the patrons probably first. I'll get the exclusive and then to everybody. But if not, I'll always do the cutouts. I didn't talk about it a few weeks ago because I wasn't here. The White Rat reveal happened. The Bray Wyatt happened, reveal and happened, everything like that. And let's see, Sam talking about Dynamite. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that here. I just want to talk about the Bray Wyatt thing quickly. Loved it. Thought that was absolutely brilliant with the return, with everything they used as far as the old characters, referencing to them, and then the follow up on the SmackDown is really good. Now, it looks like they're doing a split personality. We've gone this before, but I think split personality before was the Funhouse guy and then the Fiend, right? So it's like, oh, a guy that's bad or like secretively bad, and then the really bad guy. This looks like they're doing like a promo where, oh, he's gonna be Bray Wyatt's gonna be the good guy, and then whoever this new character with the black mask or the black phone mask, he's gonna be the fucking really evil guy. Because this Bray Wyatt promo was so great about like he's emotional, talking about saving people's lives. As far as they came up to him, and say like, you inspired me, helped me so much. How he missed the fans, and wonder if people miss him. Great promo. So That's very interesting. And that's the other reason too why I've talked about with the wrestling show is I haven't watched Raw this week, and I don't think I'll get to watch SmackDown. If I ever do the wrestling show, I have to be 100% committed, and that's one thing now too with having to watch Raw, SmackDown, and AEW. That's a lot of hours, and there's times where I think when I was talking about doing it for the full time, and I still plan on doing it at some point, but that's when those reviews were happening. If we ever get crammed like that again with Rings of Power stuff like that, that made it extremely tough. So that's where I think wrestling will always be part of the trust. Told you the spinoff show, gonna have to figure out a wait and see. But I love talking about wrestling stuff like that. But yeah, AEW happened tonight when I was recording this. Sam said finished watching Dynamite before epic MJF segment. That company can't take a trick. That company can't take a trick with injuries though. Yeah. So to start with the MJF thing. This promo, man, he's untouchable. You talk about it's all subjective, but talk about who the best is right now as far as microphone. I don't think there's anybody get anywhere close to MJF. That guy is just a fucking dagger. But lately he's been doing this kind of middle ground. Is he or isn't he? Is he going to turn? Is he a babyface? Is he not? What's going to happen? Because this all goes back to he came back at All Out. And Jericho told us the press scrum where it's like a good thing in the press scrum where, you're going to turn to a babyface. And MJF, was like, I don't know. Like, it sounded like Jericho kind of unfortunately revealed some info about him breaking character. Like, I don't think I could do that. I could be a babyface. But it's just like, no, people are going to love you for this. And as the week's going on, the music hits and people boo, but it goes away quickly because people are like, fuck yeah, MJF's going to give us a moment, right? And stuff like that. So for me, I'm of two minds of now. He gave this great promo where he talked about William Regal was in the ring, and he kept an email when William Regal was working at WWE, and he kept an email rejecting him from going there. And he talked about how this affected him emotionally, how he thought about killing himself. Now he talks about the greatest trick the devil ever pulled. Here's the thing. I do think there's realism to this. How realistic, I don't know, but MJF makes you believe every single word. And he had that crowd who people love William Regal. They turn on Regal. They're booing him and stuff like that. And then Regal came in with a great promo about, you talk about just an email affecting you. I had to get in fights when I was 16-year-old and get beat the shit and everything like that. It's I don't think I've ever, and that's why I want to do a wrestling show, I've never made a top 10 promo segments. This would be in there. God damn, was it good. Bravo from both gentlemen. Absolutely. And MJF, just untouchable. And then I watch this, I'm like, how can you not make him a babyface? This guy's talking about how at one point he thought about killing himself, but then he took that negative and turned into a positive and worked harder to get into becoming a wrestler, going to different companies, etc. I don't know. But then they did something else later on where I'm 50-50 on it, but Sam says, I stopped watching WWE altogether, despite apparently better now. Just don't have that amount of hours to spend on the product that lets you down. I will say, Sam, that I agree with you because it is a lot of hours. Since Triple H has taken over, I've seen, I'd say, I'll say like 70% of it. I don't feel let down more than I do with like AEW. Like there's, of course, times where you're watching AEW and something happens and you go, oh, that sucks. They should have went this route, That's, I think, WWE right now. I think they have some great stuff. So, and I just got to get it back in the repetition of watching it all the time because I haven't programmed for that. I was always programmed for Monday and then whenever SmackDown was on, but I dropped that for past few years. So it's weird having it back. But for me, I think it's better to watch it later on in the night or the next day when there's no commercials. I can't sit down for the full 3 hours of my life and the kids to watch it all. There's specific nights. If it's a big night or after pay-per-view, sure I will. Or a PLE, Premium Live event. But I will say definitely watch the pay-per-views, but even the shows, give them a chance. They got some much better storytelling going on right now. I promise that. I was somebody who was out of WWE. So back to the MJF thing. He does this promo, and I'm like, there's no way he can't be the babyface. And we jump to the end of the show, which we're going to talk about the Hangman stuff, because fuck, just like that just sucks. Luckily, it seems like he's just has a concussion, but not even luckily, because people have said like, hey, Adam Cole's a concussion right now, and it's really bad, and we don't know when he's back. Concussions can fuck with you. Concussions can end careers and lives and stuff like that. So just because it's a concussion and he left the hospital doesn't mean it's like good to go, So, but anyway, so that happened. I guess I should say that now that Moxley and Hangman, they had this fucking just banger, really good match that sucks that it got ended because of this injury. If people don't know, Hangman was running at him. Moxley hits him with a clothesline. He doesn't. like the head, like he flips over and his head hits the mat. It's on a little bit angle, but it doesn't look like oh my God, you can tell. I don't know. It could have been the clothesline, could have been the mat, who knows, but he hits the mat and he's just not moving. And it's this thing of, I thought at first, like, oh, they're going to do this so he doesn't have to lose and they can say that for another time. But no, they start undoing the ball in the ring. A real stretcher comes out, everything. He wasn't moving and they brought him out of there, which is really scary. And then Moxley, they're trying to kill time because Taz was the words, like, credit him because, like, how can you be good in this situation? But he's trying to promote and do stuff for the show. He's like, oh my God, I'm just watching down this ring. It's fucking brutal. And that's why they kept talking about how hurt Hangman was, where I thought, this is an angle. They can't, like, usually they just can't keep bringing up, but they're kept bringing up because I think they're all really concerned now in retrospect. So Moxley gets the mic. They're trying to kill time by promoting stuff for the next show, and now Moxley's going to talk. And it was weird. I don't put it against because Moxley's just a weird cat. He was like, oh, I hope Adam Page feels good soon because, in these business, you got to give everything, your sweat, your blood. It was almost just making it sound like, oh, you're not tough enough for it. And he did not mean that at all, but just the way Moxley is. MJF, who has the chip, he can cash a title shot at any time, right? He comes down, he's going to cash him, but he's not. He gets the microphone, says, you know what? I don't want there any doubt. I don't want people saying you didn't earn this. November, whatever it is, Full Gear. It's in his hometown. I want to earn it. So I'm challenging you then, not picking the bones. So there's of two minds I thought of this, where I thought, okay, he's done this promo earlier about talking suicide, working his way back up, and now he's going to cash and he wants to earn it. He wants to win the title the real way. And it's in his hometown. So what a perfect way to turn him babyface is no matter what, he's going to get a pop. He's going to get cheered. That's when you do it, right? But then there's something where I want to lean into this. I want him to be a babyface. I think it's a smart route because babyfaces are tough to build. So when you got a natural one that the people want to cheer, fucking go with it. Run with it while you can. Because the good thing about MJF, if they ever turn him, just turn him heel again. He'll get that heat right back, He might want to be a babyface, but he, to me, feels very similar to the way The Rock was, where, they did that where, obviously, you die, Rocky die. He turned heel. He got very popular from that. They turned babyface for, like, a little bit, and then they turned back to heel, and I was like, that's a mistake. Now they just want to get to Rock and Stone Cold Mania, so it was fine. But don't push against the grain. And my worry is, so when he says, like, I'm seeing you at Full Gear, our match. He throws the mic away. He's looking at the crowd. He's like, come on, fuck it. Like, he's trying to get going, which Moxley dropped an F-bomb. My worry is that because he's already playing towards the crowd, they're going to do some sort of swerve at the pay-per-view, and he's going to be a heel. I'm fine with it. MJF is great. I think he can make it work. But the money right now, I think, is him becoming a babyface or just even a tweener, like getting on that line and stuff like that. So my hope is that's what this is all leading towards. But my worry is that it's just to keep hinting him being a face. And because he almost so overboard this episode, I went, uh-oh. They just want to swerve us. And sometimes the swerve isn't the best. Sometimes just telling the natural story, even if it's predictable, it's the way to go. So I hope they do that. But yeah, Moxley and Hangman, it sucks that I thought it was a little too soon. I thought they could have saved that for pay-per-view, but my intuition has always been Moxley's going to lose to MJF, and then he's going to go get his vacation he was supposed to get a few weeks ago. So that's fine. You just give it to Moxley, so you can't give it to Hangman. But man, they're having such a good match before. There was something about where it's like, I think their styles are really going to mesh, and how Moxley makes his entrance to the ring and Hangman decides, I'm not going to wait for him. He just gets in the crowd and starts beating him up. And they have this big thing in the crowd. He goes to the stairs, which should be way more dangerous, right? There's like in the arena where you go up, up, up. There's like where people sit. There's a spot where underneath or over top the door, he goes there and backflips off at moonsaults. That's what's like, oh, that's where the dude should get injured. But no, he's completely fine. Lands his feet like nothing. So even though I think he was going to lose that match, I'd be very excited for them to run this back, and I can't wait because this match was shaping up to be one of the better Dynamite main events. So, yeah, and yeah, obviously we got Moxley versus MGF for the title coming at Full Gear. That'll be fun. I think that is MGF's moment, and I think it's deserved. And like I said, run with the babyface thing. I think they're going to try and do the swerve, but oh well. And at least I know he can make the swerve work. It's just go with what the people want, go with what it might be the easy route, but just do it. Like, just, this is the simple stupid. People want to cheer him, let him cheer him and let him figure it out. If he's worried about being a babyface, he's a great MJF. So you know what? Figure it out. You can do it. Watch some tape, So other stuff that happened, Death Triangle beat Best Friends. Wasn't sure the point of this match. I thought Best Friends might win it here. I'm happy. Pac lost. Am I happy? Okay. I'm happy Orange Cassidy got a win and a title win. At least it puts him on his belt. I think Pac's title reign with the title was very disappointing. Not because of him, because they just wouldn't book him on TV and like, oh, we wrestled this event. Let's show you a replay. You can watch it on YouTube. Near the end, he started getting some TV time, but I don't think they really let him run. And there's just way too many fucking titles going right now. Let's see. Tony Storm beat, Sheeta with the Storm Zero retain. Good match. I guess I wouldn't say really, but I enjoyed their chemistry. This is just setting up more, just fighting in the dynamics. I'm happy for Paige that she seemingly can get physical and hopefully take bumps. She's apparently been cleared by 3 doctors. As I spoke about weeks ago, that was my worry as far as, hey, like, you're going to give her all this money to do what? But if she's going to wrestle Britt Breaker, that's a big match. She's going to be a little rusty, I imagine, but I'm enjoying that. Let's see. There's a bunch of stuff about War Joe, which is a stupid fucking name. FTR is going to be going for the number 1 contendership against Swerve and our Glory. That could go either way. And to me, I think it's better to go Swerve because I think if it's FTR, you got to have them win the titles. You know, like, I don't think you can do that right now, which they probably should have before, in my opinion. They should have been... I can't remember the order of how they would have beat how I wanted to go, but they should have already had those titles and probably faced the Young Bucks and had their 3rd match with them. So then we had the MJF promo we talked about. Jericho versus Dalton Castle, very fun match. Dalton Castle, I like enough. I've seen his work, but I know people are really, really enjoying some of his stuff in the Ring of Honor era when he was champion. In that time was always like, it's fine, but Marty Scurll should be the champion. Obviously, that didn't age well because Marty's apparently a piece of shit. But with Dalton, this is, I think, my favorite match I've seen. It's a combo with Jericho, but it just meshed. It was a good brazing of comedy and the actual wrestling with the, and you got the boys on the side and stuff like that. So I really liked it. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to be because I liked Dalton enough, but when they announced, okay, Jericho's doing, he has to beat all the former Ring of Honor champions. Sure, let's get through this. Let's do this. And, but yeah, that's everything for the show today. Thank you very much to everyone that tuned in live chat. Thank you to everyone that tuned in after the fact. If you have anything to say to us, Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, the Discord, I think it's a Twitter. Tons of ways to contact us. So I promise when you hear from me next, it'll not be boring.